like our count is going up, so I'm just going to give it another couple of seconds. Make sure everybody's in and ready to go. Okay, perfect. I'm going to get started here so we can kick things off. Welcome to the Potomac and Chesapeake Association for College Admission Counseling College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic presenters today we're very excited about. They're going to be sharing their presentation with you this afternoon, evening. They will be around to answer questions, so feel free to use that Q&A. My name is Chelsea and I will be your facilitator. So a few housekeeping announcements before I pass it off. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. Again, you can use that Q&A button on your screen to type questions at any time. This is one of many sessions happening, 3 more following this, so be sure to check the schedule on the website. And this presentation, along with the other sessions, are being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/PCACAC. All right, and now I'm going to turn it over and I will give it to Brianna.
Good evening, everyone. So we're just going to wait for this presentation to come up. We'll get started. So welcome to the PCACAC Virtual College Fair. And we're just going to go right now through the panel. And so on the next slide, we'll go over the overview. So right now, we're going to do introductions. So I'm Brianna Varner. I am a college advisor at Western High School through the College Brown Foundation in Baltimore, Maryland. And then Hannah, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah Wolf. I'm a college counselor at Georgetown Preparatory School in Bethesda, Maryland. Prior to that, I was at Langley High School, so in Maryland and Virginia. And on the side, I am on the other side of the desk and do admissions reading for the University of California, Berkeley. Ariel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ariel Cooper. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions for Marymount University, located in Arlington, Virginia. And I'm excited to have all of you here today to share with you about the college process.
Thank you. Okay, so in this presentation, we'll go through the college timeline, so how you can prepare for college during your high school time, exploring the best fits and college campus experiences once you get to school. So the college planning starts your freshman year. It is never too early to start planning. Your freshman year is a very important year, just as your 10th and 11th grade year. This is the time where you're able to explore different clubs and organizations. With that, you can go to your different schools, see what organizations interest you, organizations within the community. And it's important that you do organizations that are tied to your major if you know what you want to major in, because typically when you're applying for colleges like to see that you're actually doing things in the steps to go to your major. Also, do things that you like to do and not because you want to join an organization for your friend, because sometimes those organizations do not build you into what you need to do. Take classes that sound fun. You can do classes at your school or within the community. I know that a lot of people don't know about like your local library. They often have tons of free courses that you can take, and it can be in several different things. And that also is a great way for you to kind of figure out what interests you and your passions, because that is what can help you once it's time to research the different colleges you're interested in, because you can kind of know what type of major or the type of school that you want to attend. Study hard and get excellent grades. It's easier to have your grades fall than to bring your grades up. So it's very important that you start on a solid foundation and making sure that you're starting the study habits your freshman year, because the habits that you start your freshman year typically roll in throughout your whole entire high school experience. And so it's a lot harder to start working harder. Most of the time students try to say, oh, my junior year, I can pick it up, but you're really going to be working 20 times harder just to pull your grades up, where you could have already just started your freshman year. And then take the time to challenge yourself. So after your first year, you kind of get a feel of your school. So take the time to go and communicate with your counselors, let them know what you're interested in. If you're interested in taking some AP and honors courses your following year, to allow you to show your academic ability to not only yourself, but also within the college application process. So in your sophomore year, this is the time that you'll start exploring your resources. So like I said, your freshman year, we want you to kind of review and explore different clubs and organizations. However, your sophomore year is when you should start solidifying the organizations that you truly enjoy being in. And it's important that it's quality over quantity, because you do not want to have, you're part of 10 different organizations and you're just going, but they're not really meaningful. Do something that's meaningful, that offers you the ability to learn and grow, but also give you leadership opportunities. Where can you grow within that organization? Because it's really important while you're in high school to gain those leadership opportunities, because it just showcases how you are a well-rounded student when it's time to apply for college. Take on challenges. So just like in the 9th grade year, if you see something else that you're interested in, if you feel like you have the ability to do it, go off and do it. Make sure you're doing those AP and honors classes, because if your school offers those and it's a very rigorous course that you can take, you want to show the colleges that you're actually taking time to challenge yourself, and that when you get to school, you will also challenge yourself there as well. And you won't just take the easy route just to get a 4.0, but not taking honor and AP classes. Also, it's important that you volunteer. Get involved with your community. Take the time to do things where you're able to just give back within your community. Community service is really important. People love to see that you're not only just going to school and studying, but that you're doing other activities and involvement within your community. Within academics, it's important that you establish positive relationships. Start that even with your freshman year, but really your sophomore year, because those are the people who you can use to write your letter recommendations. You want those positive relationships for people to see the growth in you and see the potential and to truly know who you are, because you do not want to get a generic letter recommendation because it's your senior year and you're like, oh, I don't even know a teacher. You want to make sure that you know someone within your school, because you want your letter to stand out compared to other letters. Understand the course selection process going into your junior year. Know what classes are being offered, because that is the last and final year that colleges are able to really see your grades, to see what you have participated in within your college career. Learn about the PSAT and the National Merit Scholars Program. Often, I don't know if many people know about this, but there is an opportunity for high scores on the PSAT to receive national merits, where it could be national merit funding, corporate sponsored funding, or college sponsored scholarships. And you have to take that exam your junior year in October. So it has to be the October exam your junior year, and it's the PSAT. And with that, if you make it to the semifinals, they'll notify your school and give you the college the application, and then they'll select 15,000 semifinalists, and then you go through a whole nother review, and then they select 7,250 scholars to receive the award. So take the time out to get some free money just by taking the PSAT that most students typically take just to prepare for the SAT. And lastly, you just need to build strong study skills and maintain those relationships, just like I said, because those are really important to keep those habits going so that you can be a successful scholar. And that's all I have, so on to Hannah.
Okay, so junior year actually is 2 slides long because it's so important. But I would say a couple of things. So freshman, sophomore year, if they've gone well, wonderful. But if they haven't gone quite so well, colleges do love something called an upward trend in grades. So junior year is not the end. You can't improve, you can't do any better. What we don't want students to do, I would say, is wait until senior year to try to pull up their grades. But if you are finding that freshman year was a little rocky and sophomore year did a little bit better, and then you jump into junior year, you want to just continue on that upward trajectory. That's really, really important. Obviously, we want you to continue with academic excellence and continue to do all of your extracurricular activities. I would say hopefully sophomore year, you've sort of eliminated things you didn't need to be involved in and really focused on things that you really, really care about. And one good way to continue with that trend is to look for leadership where you can find it. Not everyone has to be a leader. There's lots of great followers and supporters in clubs and activities, but if you have the opportunity to grow, it's always nice to start moving in that direction junior year or even senior year. So we do encourage students to look at their activities in that way and to see where they can continue to grow and expand and really be good contributors of what they're participating in, and not just saying, I have this on my resume, I have this to put on my college application, but I'm not really involved and I don't really have much to say about it. So being thoughtful about those activities is really, really helpful. In terms of coursework, we want students to challenge themselves a little bit more every year. I think junior year, some students try to take on too much rigor. Some students don't take on enough rigor. So it's a sort of conversation you want to have with your school counselor in high school to see what might make sense for you. It's a good idea to try to continue on in all your core courses and not suddenly try to drop math or maybe stop taking the language. And continuing to take those classes, because depending on the schools you're applying to senior year, some schools may have specific requirements that they want students to take. For example, we hear with business colleges that admit students directly for their business programs, they like to see a higher level of math. I would say the same for engineering, computer science, programs like that. So we always tell students to sort of think about, be strategic a little bit with what you're taking for coursework. Obviously, we want you to do well in that coursework, so we don't want you to overload yourself to the point of not doing well. But you always have the opportunity, again, to continue to grow in this process, and certainly grow in terms of what your transcript looks like. So 2 different paths. Some of you may say, I've just been hitting it out of the park since freshman year, and others may say, oh my gosh, I stumbled a little during COVID, middle school, so now I'm trying to play catch up, and colleges are very aware of that as well. And then senior year, you continue to want to do strong in your coursework. You continue to want to challenge yourself. I think when students are not challenging themselves and dropping in some areas and saying, oh, I've taken all my hard classes junior year, I don't need to do it senior year, then that could hurt you a bit. So you just want to make sure that you're not doing that to yourself. Another big thing that we encourage juniors to do is to really think about their resume during junior year, the summer, I should say, between junior year and senior year. Summer is a great time to, I would say, explore more options, think about things you're interested in, get a job, volunteer, do a program, take a free online class. There is no perfect, this is the one activity I have to do to get into college. It can be something that's of interest to you. So we always tell students, find things that matter to you, find things that you care about. What we don't want you to do the summer between junior and senior year is just sort of rest, go on vacation, not do a lot. So we do say, try to be active, whatever that means to you. For some students, it's continuing on in their athletics. For some students, like I said, it's working. Find something that you value and that's important to you. Some students may have to work a job, and that's certainly something that colleges value. So don't feel like it's not. And you have to get a research opportunity or something like that with on a college campus while you're in high school. That's not necessarily true. I always hear students say, I have to start a nonprofit. No, you don't have to start a nonprofit. What we do want you to do is just do something that matters to you. And it could be very local, and that certainly works as well. The last thing is, hopefully sophomore year, you did take the PSAT, which Brianna talked a little bit about on the prior slide. You're going to be heading into the actual SAT or ACT and standardized testing. I will say that, yes, you may hear the buzz around test optional, and hundreds and hundreds of schools are test optional and are continuing their test optional policies, which means you don't have to submit test scores. However, we always say your safest bet is to test. So even if you think I'm applying to these few schools, they don't require testing, I don't need to worry about it, you should always do your best, take the test just in case you need it. Some schools may use testing for specific majors, for honors programs, for scholarship money, and you just never know if a college is going to change their decision around testing. So it's always a good idea to continue to test. Okay, next slide. All right, and now gets into the fun stuff. So we talked a little bit about all the preparation you have to do in terms of academics and activities and continuing on, a solid trajectory. This heads into a bit of the college search. And Ariel's going to talk a little bit more in depth about pieces of this, so I will sort of gloss over some of this. It's really helpful if you don't know where to go, don't know what to do. There's a lot of information online to go local with what is available to you in terms of the college search. So attending this college fair tonight is a perfect example. If colleges are visiting your school in the fall and you're able to go to college visits, a lot of schools will allow juniors and seniors to go. Attending a college visit and meeting with admissions people. Like I said, there's a bunch of stuff online. It can get very overwhelming. There's a lot of white noise out there, I like to say. So I think you can be strategic by going to a college website and looking at what they offer and what majors they have and what people are doing next after they attend that school for business. Where are they going and where are they being employed? So I think you can look at those sorts of things. In terms of also researching colleges, social media is full of admissions folks who are trying to meet you where you're at. So I would say that there is a very vibrant Instagram scene, and YouTube is a great resource for looking and researching colleges and figuring out what it is that matters to you when you think about the college process. For some families, money will be the largest factor. For some families, being close to home will be a huge factor. For some students, it's going to be, can I play my sport in college? Or I want to go to medical school eventually. So where are some, programs that offer strong pre-med supports? So it's thinking about what is it that I care about, what's important to me. Do I want to go to college that's totally different from my high school experience? There are definitely places out there that is the case. So it's starting to think about, what do I care about and what do I value? Again, college websites are great. Talking with your family early and often. I am a first generation college student, so my parents weren't quite as, they knew I should go to college and they wanted me to go to college, and that was the expectation, but they didn't always know, the terminology or some of the experiences that some of my peers had when looking at colleges. So again, having those conversations and looking for your supports. Your school counselor can answer a lot of things for you, and if they don't have all the answers, they can direct you to some great resources to kind of walk through this process and help you out. Visiting colleges, taking college tours, that can seem intimidating. It's actually a really cool experience. In my role, I visit lots of college campuses and I just sign up for the tour. And there's a ton of other people there and I don't even have to say anything. I can just walk along and hear what they have to say. And once I've done a couple of those, I kind of understand, here are the things that people care about. Here are the things that people are looking into. And then I can formulate my own questions as I'm going along. I don't visit college campuses because I'm going to go to college again, although it would be really fun as you visit these schools. It's a really cool experience, but it's to help you or students like you in my school figure out what might be a good fit for them. The other thing you can do junior year is just sort of start a timeline, start a calendar for yourself. What are the things I need to do and when? When am I going to sign up for testing? When am I going to start doing college tours? When am I going to just sort of sit down and talk about this process? For a lot of students, it never feels like a good time. For some of you, you're thinking, beginning of junior year, I want to start talking about college. Get through your coursework, enjoy your activities, continue to grow, but then give yourself time. If it's once a week where you just sit down and do a little research on colleges, that's always a great opportunity. Okay, next slide. Okay, senior year. This is when you're actually in motion, applying to college, figuring out when you're going to apply, all of those sorts of great things. As I said before, talking with your school counselor early and often. I know they're busy, but talking about college, senior year is when it really gets really important and really real. And they will help you through the process in terms of helping you with, figuring out what you submit and what they submit, and the timeline for when you need to do things and when your school specifically goes through the application process. The other piece of that, and we cannot stress this enough, is looking at when the deadlines are. Because if you miss a deadline for college, for applying to college, thousands of other students did not miss that deadline. And colleges are much like the real world, and that you have to meet those deadlines. So it's not like when you're in high school and you can say, oh, can I have an extension? I missed the deadline. I forgot to turn in my homework. You do need to pay attention to those deadlines. So I would say, again, put a reminder. If it's, a calendar in your phone, if it's a calendar on your refrigerator at home, if that's the piece where your parents are really helpful with keeping you on track with things, ask them to follow that piece of it. So please pay attention to deadlines. I cannot stress that enough. Letters of recommendation. You heard earlier that it's really important to get to know a few of your teachers, for most of you, you will probably ask 2 teachers at the end of junior year if they will write you strong letters of recommendation. You'll also have a counselor letter. You may not need any letters. Virginia Tech, for example, will not look at a letter. The University of California, the whole system, they don't need letters of recommendation. So you may not need them, but ultimately you do want to ask at least 2 teachers, 1 counselor, and then you can mix and match which letters get sent to which places. So it is really important to get to know your teachers and give them enough time to write. The week before is never helpful. So give them at least a month or 2. But for most students, if you're a junior, you probably are already asked or will be asking in the next few days, I would say. Merit scholarship money. Some colleges will award merit money based on a deadline for when. So when you apply to college, they have what are called priority deadlines or merit scholarship deadlines. And so that could be when you could potentially get the maximum amount of scholarship money. So that can be another deadline piece to pay attention to. A lot of schools just automatically consider you for scholarship money just for applying to school, but there are some that may have additional scholarships that are outside of that, and you have to fill out a different application, things like that. Outside of the actual college scholarships, there are places like capix.com and other websites that have a robust list of scholarships. If your school uses Naviance, you probably have an entire scholarship list that you can pay attention to. I always tell parents that scholarships are a great thing for them to work on for you, not meaning that they fill out the applications for you, but that they actually are researching them for you, because scholarships start as early as like August, September of that senior year that they become available. And again, just paying attention to the deadlines is helpful. Usually it's an application and sometimes an essay, and then you're good to go. So you can get a lot of money that way. It's just paying attention to the deadlines and not waiting until the last minute on those. Spring semester. Once you've applied to college, you really want to pay attention to the emails you get. You want to open your email. I know some students do not love to look at their email. I've witnessed this firsthand in both places I've worked. And I know my students are not alone. I know you get just inundated with hundreds and hundreds of emails, and it's overwhelming, but it's helpful to open the emails from the colleges that you're applying to. Make sure that nothing is missing. You'll also get portals that you can log into for each school, and that will also tell you if pieces of the application are missing or what you might need to do. That's also where you accept your decision to attend a school if you've been admitted, or if you're waitlisted or deferred, or all of those sorts of pieces. So again, it's something to pay attention to. Yeah, I can't stress email enough. You have to open it. Please open it. Please check it. Continue to work hard senior year. Senioritis is very real. Some students get it earlier in the year. Almost every student gets it at some point, meaning you're kind of done. You want to go to college now. You're ready to go. You're sick of being a high school senior. You want to continue to work hard academically. If you do not, colleges may become aware of this when we send final transcripts to them, and some students could be rescinded for that sort of plummet in grades and sometimes behaviors. So again, you want to continue to work hard during senior year. I always tell the students, not that I want them to think about in this way, but if they ever decide they want to transfer to another school or apply for some program or job or something right after high school during that first year of college, they may still need their high school transcript to be considered. So you want to finish strong. And if you've worked hard since freshman year, I don't know why you would blow it senior year on senioritis. So continue to do the work, continue to work hard in school, because in the end, it just pays off. And then May 1st is your decision deadline. This is being very, I guess we're just going very sort of quickly over this piece of it. There's different deadlines, and some students may apply early decision, and then they will have a decision very early on in the school year of senior year, and then they're committing before May 1. But for the majority of students, National Decision Day is May 1st. So when you are finally saying, this is where I'm going to go, or this is my plan senior year, you do have to make a decision by that May 1 deadline. So again, it's a little more nuanced than that. But for now, just pay attention that by May 1, I will have my place of choice for the next year, that's where I'll be attending. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to Ariel for this next part.
All right, thank you, Hannah. All right, so I'm going to round out the presentation. And so I just want to go ahead and encourage anyone that has questions for us as we finish out the presentation. You can go ahead and place those questions in the Q&A function that you see. It may be at the bottom of your screen, but we already see one question in there. And so once we round out this presentation, we'll be able to dive in to those questions. So please feel free to go ahead and start jotting your questions in there and sending them over to us. So we've talked about freshman to senior year and all the different things and components to consider and think about as you're preparing for college. We know that in this day and age, there are so many options to consider outside of college. So if you are making the choice to go to college after graduating high school, you of course want to make sure that you are finding the best fit for you. Some people will say their dream school, if you will. If you already have your dream school, great. If you're still considering and thinking about how do I find or consider or narrow down the options of all these different dream schools, or I'm just so open to the idea in general, there are some factors to consider. And so here you'll see these factors: location, academic programs, career building opportunities, research and internships, the size of the school, extracurricular involvement, and of course, the cost. And so when it comes to location, all different types of universities and colleges, they're gonna offer different types of communities, locations that help you to thrive. Some like a city environment. They want to be in the middle of everything. They want to have easy access to stores and fun things to do in the area. They love the city vibe. And you can find universities that are embedded in the middle of the city, and the campus is a part of the city, if you will. You'll also be able to find some more rural or suburban areas that's more close-knit into the community, more in a residential area. And there are also some places that are known as college towns. So there are a few different universities and colleges specific to that location. So you'll be able to find the different locations and find which one helps you feel best if you want access to the different resources, different benefits for the varying types of locations. So that's one thing to consider. Of course, academic programs is going to be super important to consider, because you don't want to go to a school that isn't offering digital design, and that's the major, or that's what you would like to be when you grow up. So ultimately, you want to make sure that you're finding an institution that offers the program, the major that you're interested in studying for those 4 years, 2 years. Some programs, even some universities may even offer dual programs where you can get 2 degrees. You can consider a major and a minor. You definitely want to find schools that allow you to be flexible or ultimately study what you're looking to do. So if that's nursing, engineering, art, design, fashion, you'll be able to find a university or college that has those programs specific to what you're interested in. Career building opportunities is super important as well, because we know that college is an investment. So college is not free, but it can be. And so with that, you definitely want to make it to be the best use of your time and your money and your resources. So you want to make sure that the university or college you're going to is going to be able to help you receive an internship, a job. They have networks and they have resources that allow you to get your foot in the door. They help you with building a resume. And we talked about a resume even at the high school level, but you'll need to really build that big girl, big boy resume once you're in college, and be able to apply for actual jobs at Google, Amazon, Procter & Gamble, just let's go on. If Nike, if you already are considering a dream job or a dream company to work for, or even starting and owning your own business, you definitely want to make sure you're connected with an institution that has resources available to you. Research and internship that goes along with those career building opportunities. Is it a research institution? If you're in the sciences, that's a really good thing to look into. Those schools that are R1 or R2 at research levels are top at their fields for research. So if you're a scientist and there's a specific field that you're looking to do research in, you want to connect with an institution that's going to be able to help you do research and have your research publicized or basically recognized in some sort of fashion. And of course, the size of the school. Do you thrive in large communities in a school that has about 30,000 students? Or are you more wanting an intimate, close connection with a smaller school that has about 1,000 students? So universities and colleges definitely range in sizes. You can find some as small as your high school now, or even larger. Like I said, those city-based universities and colleges that have over thousands of students, still able to provide the same great amount of resources, but just finding the best fit for you. And so we'll move along to talking about the campus experience itself. And so Hannah touched on this as well already. It is time, even as your freshman year, as a freshman in high school, you can apply and sign up for campus tours, open houses at universities. Every fall and spring semester, you can look for open house events. These are free events that will showcase the university at a different level, at an open level, that allows you to come in and see the academics, see about their student services, learn about what they do for extracurriculars, hear about their clubs and organizations. So there's opportunities for you to go with your families and just see what other students and other people are interested in these different schools, learn about the academic programs, again, as early as your freshman year in high school. And then this is where you start to learn about the requirements, because you'll start to connect with admissions counselors. Now, I want you guys to, all of you to know on here, admissions counselors are your friend. They are not to be someone to be intimidated by. They're not here to scrutinize you or to judge you in any way. They want to make sure that you'll be the best fit for the university and that ultimately the university is the best fit for you, because it's a transactional thing. We want to make sure that the students that come to the university and the college will be able to thrive and have a great experience while at the school and likewise. So with that, you can connect with the admissions counselors. Don't be shy to email them and set up times to connect with them. Some even have virtual appointments that you can sign up for, phone calls, and some even are able to welcome you for in-person appointments. So if you find yourself in the area, please feel free to reach out to that school and see what type of opportunities you can take on, whether that's meeting an admissions counselor, meeting a student ambassador, someone that currently goes to the university that can also offer insight in their student experience. There's so many things that you can start to do in high school that gets you excited. You get cool gear, free swag, so you'll walk away with lots of t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, you can name it, so many things. And even if you don't go to that university, it's nice to have a nice collection of memorabilia and all this different stuff. So many things that you can dive into right now from freshman year to senior year to get you started and excited about the college process. So that'll wrap up what I will share on that college experience. Again, at Marymount University, we do offer summer visits. So we are a school that offers visits year round. And you can definitely just go directly to the website, find the visit calendar, schedule a visit, and come and see us. And that's how easy it is for you to set up a visit at just about any other college or university. All right, so now we will open it up for the Q&A.
Yep. So I'm going to read the first question. Someone put in the chat that my school does not offer AP courses. Does that hurt the child?
So I would say no. I would say no. And then Ariel, you can definitely chime in on your side of the desk. If your high school does not offer AP, students are looked at within the context of their high school. So the colleges they look at you where you're at. So it's not, having AP coursework is never a requirement, but Ariel, you can certainly.
Yeah, I'd say each school or university has changed their requirements. So some schools are test optional or do not require test scores at all. So with, and even with that, the AP scores not being a requirement for, you know, you just need to pass high school and graduate with a high school diploma. So some schools aren't having those additional requirements of needing AP or needing honors. So it definitely won't hurt, but that's what you would definitely want to connect with the admissions counselor, building that connection so that you are fully aware of their requirements.
And just another follow-up to that. So when your counselor submits your letter recommendation, everything, they're also required to submit your school profile, which showcases all the classes that's offered at your school. So the schools will know that they do not offer AP classes, and so they won't be looking for that on your transcript. The next question is there any hope for someone who had medical issues during junior year and grades tanked?
Absolutely. Yeah. So certainly some schools, and I'll speak for Marymount. So Marymount University, we consider ourselves to review students holistically. So you submit your high school transcript. That is a requirement that we can't change. But additionally, you can submit your personal statement or essay. And in that personal statement or essay, we are looking for us to know a little bit more about you. So something like that medical issue happening in sophomore year, that's something that you can write about in the essay and just showcase how you're overcoming it. You know, write something that lets us know more about who you are as a person, what your goals are for the future, and how you are outside of the grades that are showcased on the transcript. So different universities, again, just connecting with those admissions counselors, having those connections, because they are real people who want to make sure that you are a good fit for the university. So if they know that that was just a 1 year and we're able to see progress for the remainder of the years, that's something that is considered for a good majority of schools. I won't speak for all.
The next question is, what are the best websites to find scholarships?
So I put a few in the chat earlier and then mentioned some during the talk. I think the biggest challenge with scholarships is, well, there's a lot of scams out there. And so it's knowing what's okay and what's not okay. If your school uses Naviance, they will have a listing of scholarships that are usually updated pretty consistently. So that is certainly a great resource. I think there's also sites like CAPEX, which is CAPPEX.com. There's FastWeb. There's a great site called Going Merry, which also helps you figure out what your financial aid packages actually really look like. So some of those can be great resources. In Maryland and Virginia in particular, we have what's called the Academic Common Market. And what that does is and you can go to the site and plug in the state you're in and then look at a list of specific majors that if you attend a different college out of state, you would get in-state tuition for that college. For example, University of South Carolina has Russian for students in Virginia. You could get in-state tuition, or marine science in-state tuition, and they have one of the top marine science programs in the nation at South Carolina. So that can be a good option for students. The University of Tennessee has supply chain management. So looking at that can certainly reduce costs that way as well. I would say you should never pay money for a scholarship site or for a scholarship. And if you do have questions, always go to your school counselor, because we are always helping find these places that potentially could be scams. And then, like I said, the colleges themselves, if they do offer merit aid, most students are automatically considered when they apply. You might just have to apply by a certain deadline.
Okay, so where could we find a list of extracurricular activities, projects, and leadership development opportunities offered outside of school?
So some resources that I suggest and I have personal experience with, of course, like your local churches and community centers. Those are really great ways for you to do some type of assistance with a project, community service, being like a junior counselor throughout the summer, knowing that during the summer months you're not in school. So if you can look to volunteer at a shelter or volunteer at a community center, rather than, sorry to take away the fun, rather than going to like a fun camp or things of that sort, looking ways to actually do stuff in the community. Also, you may want to take a look at, so sorry, it just left my brain cells there, your churches, and it'll come right back to me. I'm going to pass it over to the rest of you guys.
Like I mentioned earlier, I know that local libraries, so I do know like Epcot Library in Baltimore, Maryland, they have tons of free workshops where they offer like students can go and do 3D printing and different like art things. And so it's another opportunity for you to go out every week to participate in the different free classes that they have. So that's another thing, just checking out your local library or even some of the community colleges in your area. They may also offer free summer programs, free educational things for students to do throughout the summer as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. I would say think about what are you potentially interested in. I think we heard in the beginning, Brianna said, depending on what you want to potentially major in, and if you don't know what you want to major in, that's also completely okay. For a student who says, you know what, I think I'm interested, and we hear this a lot, I think I'm interested in potentially one day becoming a doctor or working in the healthcare field. And I tried to volunteer at the hospitals and it's all full. It's a lottery, it's tricky, I can't do that. Go look at the assisted living facilities in your area and see if you can volunteer there. You sometimes need to be a little bit more creative in terms of thinking about where could I volunteer my time. Look at, more boutique hospital sort of settings, smaller clinics, and see if they just need someone to file, which could be a little bit boring, but maybe pretty interesting. So looking there is helpful. There are definitely lots of sites online with listings. Some programs will cost a lot of money. I would be careful of anything that comes to your house in the mail that has a large price tag that says it's a Youth Leadership Foundation program and someone nominated you at your school. Probably not. And some of those are what we call pay to play, and there's nothing wrong with them, but sometimes you're paying a lot of money for them, and you don't always have to pay a lot of money to have a really great experience. So, like we said earlier, the volunteering, things like that is certainly useful. Getting a job is helpful. There are two websites, Coursera, COURSERA.org, and then edX.org, that offer thousands and thousands of free online courses taught by different universities. And that could be a great way if a student wants to do something not for credit, it's self-paced, but they can learn more about a subject area.
I did remember two things. LinkedIn, I did want to encourage you guys, you can start now. If you haven't heard of LinkedIn, especially to the seniors, LinkedIn does offer a few different courses and certificates that you can start to get on a professional level. And I think that I've seen a few students that have already taken the initiative to build those professional leadership certificates and training courses that you'll do in college, but you can start doing that even in high school. And don't be afraid to create your own project. So again, going back into if you know what you would like to study or do when you graduate and become an adult, you can look to create your own community service project. So I've seen students that have led and organized their own community cleanups. And that's just getting trash bags donated, some pickers from Dollar Tree, and gathering a group of people to actually come and pick up trash in their community. And that was something that they led and started on their own. So just consider starting your own project as well. If you're not finding anything specific to what you would like to do, you can create your own.
Okay, so really quickly, because we have 3 more questions. So the first question is, if a school prefers to see 3 to 4 years of language, but the applicant only took 2 years, does that mean that they should not consider applying?
I would say you can definitely, if it's not required and it's only recommended, you can certainly apply. I think the thing where it gets dicey for students is if you need to look on the other side. If I go to this college, do I have a language requirement while I'm in the college? That is where it can get tricky for students. Some state institutions, the state of, Indiana, South Carolina, different places, they may have a specific state requirement for all of their students graduating from high school. And so they may require a certain amount but as long as it's only recommended and not required, you can certainly apply.
Okay, and the next question, is it more valued by colleges if a high school student takes similar amount of classes in each subject, or take more classes in the field that they want to pursue?
Could you say that again?
So is it beneficial for them to take classes in the major that they want to pursue while they're in high school, or should they take a similar amount of classes in different subjects?
Definitely take courses in different subjects. So for high school, Your high school requirement is you just need to complete the courses that are needed to satisfy your high school graduation and completion. And then also, again, you have to consider the requirements of the university or college you're applying to. Hannah made a good note of some state schools or certain schools having these like START requirements being 2 language requirements, and you have to have those. So if in that case, you can't get around those. But as far as taking courses so if you want to be in engineering and making sure that you take all engineering based courses, it's not a requirement to do so. It's certainly helpful because when you go into college and you take those college level courses, you already kind of have some background and knowledge about what you'll learn, but it's not a fundamental requirement.
All right, well, thank you for all your questions.
Awesome. Well, I think I'm going to jump back in here at this point. Huge thank you to our panelists. A lot of great information, a lot of great responses today. So thank you for being with us, and as well as our participants. Thank you for joining. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We really appreciate any feedback you can provide. We do encourage you to check to the schedule, sign up for more sessions. There are 3 more happening this evening. You'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other recordings at strivescan.com/PCACAC. And that's it for us. So thanks so much. Have a great rest of the evening.